Bharat's quest for greatness.
A mandate that paves the way for 1 billion aspirations.
A verdict the world is watching closely.
A battle for a rising Bharat's glorious future. Battle for Bharat. Elections equals CNN News 18.
Co-powered by
The Lok Sabha election campaign got heated on Sunday as Prime Minister Narendra Modi chose to take on Rahul Gandhi's April 6 statement in Hyderabad, which had promised a financial and an institutional survey for the redistribution of the country's wealth and jobs. Now, top BJP sources say on the Prime Minister's statement that the Prime Minister messages around 3 statements from the Congress camp which are very much on record. Number 1, Rahul Gandhi's statement on April 6 about the wealth redistribution promise. Manmohan Singh's statement in 2006 about the first right of minorities, and the Congress manifesto that speaks about minorities getting their fair share. The BJP is saying that the Congress needs to explain what its intentions are through such statements and promises. Rahul Gandhi had mentioned the redistribution as a sequel to the already promised caste census. To quote Mr. Rahul Gandhi from his April 6th rally in Hyderabad, "We will do a caste census so that the backwards, SCs, STs, poor of the general caste and minorities get to know how much they account for in the country. After that," Mr. Rahul Gandhi said, "we will do a financial and an institutional survey to find who holds the country's wealth, what section holds it, and then we will undertake the revolutionary work that whatever is your right, we will work on giving you the same." Mr. Gandhi said, be it the media, the bureaucracy, or all.
Viewers, the Prime Minister's words, uttered in the swirling fog of a bruising political war, are not pretty in the least. And while by extension they also don't make for genteel repetition, they do prompt some very legitimate questions and therefore must be recalled. Painting an ominous picture in Rajasthan addressing fawning admirers, the Prime Minister intoned, and I quote him, "This urban Naxal mindset, mothers and sisters, they will not even leave your Mangal Sutra. They can go to that level. The Congress manifesto says they will calculate the gold with mothers and sisters, get information about it and then distribute that property. They will distribute it to whom? Manmohan Singh's government had said Muslims have the first right on the country's assets." Shorn of political correctness has caused India's left to have an apoplectic fit. The Congress that the Prime Minister equated with displaying, and I quote him, "an urban Naxal mindset," unquote, has in the meantime pounded on the Election Commission's door, calling upon the panel to book the Prime Minister for, quote, "hate speech," unquote, and for spewing, quote, "inflammatory fake news," unquote. Listen in, viewers, as the two sides thrash it out in the public domain.
आपकी संपत्ति सरकार को हटने का अधिकार है क्या? क्या आपकी संपत्ति को, आपने मेहनत करके कमाई हुई संपत्ति को सरकार को ऐंठने का अधिकार है क्या? क्या उस संपत्ति को मेरी माता और बहनों की जिंदगी में सोना वो सिर्फ शो करने के लिए नहीं होता है, उसके स्वाभिमान से जुड़ा हुआ है। उसका मंगलसूत्र वो एक सोने का कीमत का मुद्दा नहीं है, उसके जीवन के सपनों से जुड़ा हुआ है। तुम उसे छीनने की बात कर रहे हो अपने मैनिफेस्टो में? गोल्ड ले लेंगे, सबको वितरित कर देंगे। और पहले जब उनकी सरकार थी उन्होंने कहा था कि देश की संपत्ति पर पहला अधिकार मुसलमानों का है। इसका मतलब ये संपत्ति इकट्ठी करके किसको बांटेंगे? जिनके ज्यादा बच्चे हैं उनको बांटेंगे, घुसपैठियों को बांटेंगे, और उनको बांटेंगे जिनको मनमोहन सिंह जी की सरकार ने कहा था कि संपत्ति पर पहला अधिकार मुसलमानों का है। मैं देशवासियों को आगाह करना चाहता हूं कांग्रेस और इंडी गठबंधन की नजर अब आपकी कमाई पर है, आपकी संपत्ति पर है। कांग्रेस के शहजादे का कहना है कि उनकी सरकार आई तो कौन कितना कमाता है, किसके पास कितनी प्रॉपर्टी है, किसके पास कितना धन है, किसके पास कितने मकान है, उसकी जांच कराएंगे। इतना ही नहीं, वो आगे कहते हैं कि ये जो संपत्ति है उनको सरकार अपने कब्जे में लेकर उसको सबको बांट देगी।
एक चुनाव जीतने के लिए आप झूठ पे झूठ परोसते चले जाओगे जनता को। चलिए, आपकी गारंटियां झूठी, आपके जुमले झूठे, आपके वादे झूठे। अब देश को हिंदू मुसलमान के नाम पर आप झूठ परोस कर बांट रहे हैं। कांग्रेस के मैनिफेस्टो में कहीं भी, मैं ये चुनौती करता हूं प्रधानमंत्री को, कहीं मुसलमान या हिंदू कोई इस तरह का शब्द हो तो हमें बताएं और ये चुनौती स्वीकार करें, नहीं तो झूठ बोलना बंद करें। कांग्रेस के मैनिफेस्टो में न्याय की बात की है। न्याय नौजवानों के साथ, न्याय महिलाओं के साथ, न्याय आदिवासियों के साथ, न्याय श्रमिकों के साथ। उसमें प्रधानमंत्री को आपत्ति है। आपत्ति हो भी क्यों ना, ये हमारा न्याय पत्र प्रधानमंत्री को आईना दिखाता है और उनके 10 साल के कृत्य दिखाता है।
While the Congress can build a case to accuse the Prime Minister of highly polarizing rhetoric, it may find it hard to prove in principle its charge that the Modi and the BJP are spreading fake news. The Congress Party manifesto is implicit on its commitment to undertake some nature of wealth or income redistribution. Consider what the vision document says, and I quote it, viewers. Congress will conduct a nationwide socio-economic and caste census to enumerate the castes and subcastes and their socio-economic conditions. Based on the data, we will strengthen the agenda for affirmative action, unquote. It doesn't take rocket science to know that determining socio-economic status requires obtaining information on what income and assets entities, including individuals, own. Then, viewers, a day after the Congress Party's manifesto was released, Rahul Gandhi in Hyderabad elaborates on this idea. Here is the Congress sign in his own words. Quote, "We will conduct a financial and institutional survey to find out who holds the country's wealth, what section holds it, and then we will undertake revolutionary work. Whatever your right, we will work on giving you the same," unquote. Now, viewers, I have pointed out both what the manifesto says and what Rahul Gandhi has said. In the manifesto's case, determining socio-economic status requires obtaining information on what assets each family owns. This is quite implicit, isn't it, viewers? How will you otherwise find out? And in Rahul Gandhi's case, the takeaway is very simple. The survey will require governmental backing through an express fiat. Could it be a law? Now there you go, bingo. Rahul Gandhi is clearly talking about wealth redistribution, about playing virtuous Robin Hood, securing from the rich to give to the poor. Now that the Congress wealth redistribution ploy has been established beyond reasonable doubt, we must ask why the Congress is suddenly distancing itself from its implicitly articulated manifesto promise. Why is it saying the Prime Minister is spreading fake news? The answer lies in what Prime Minister Modi somewhat injudiciously warned Hindus about. Remember, the Congress historically views Muslims as the most disadvantaged sections of the population. Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh had himself said so very clearly in 2006. Sample his exact quote. And I will quote him now. "I believe our collective priorities are clear. programs for the upliftment of SC/STs, other backward classes, minorities, women and children. The component plans for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes will need to be revitalized. We will have to devise innovative plans to ensure that minorities, particularly the Muslim minority, are empowered to share equitably in the fruits of development. They must have the first claim on resources, unquote. Now, my friends, the implicit takeaway here is clear. Because of the use of the word particularly, secular constitution expressly forbids the state to differentiate between citizens on religious grounds. Courts have ruled against religion-based quotas or any incentives or benefits. Now, applying Dr. Singh's logic to the Congress party's prospective wealth redistribution policy, any future Congress administration will naturally prioritize Muslims in wealth redistribution. With the Prime Minister taking this element of the Congress policy to the voter, the grand old party has suddenly realized that it could potentially alienate the majority community. Quite obviously, it is now backpedaling furiously. Of course, it isn't just about Muslims being the first in line to benefit from prospective Congress wealth redistribution plans. Their deemed indigents could also exempt their assets and incomes from being assessed and surveyed under any putative Congress government. To elaborate, if, quote, an institutional, unquote, survey is to be conducted, as Rahul Gandhi has declared, religious institutions will also be included. Hindu temples hold huge assets, land and gold. Waqf board also administers huge tracts of land and mosques with valuable assets. But since the Congress regards Muslims as disadvantaged, will Waqf properties be exclusively exempted from the survey? This is a legitimate question. And if this is the case, then only Hindu religious institutions will be made to part with their wealth. This, as you know, is not without precedent. The state has enacted laws that currently allow it to administer Hindu religious bodies exclusively. The same law also allows the state to tax the income of these Hindu institutions. As wise legal minds never tire of pointing out, if there is a precedent, there is a way. But there are also many other challenges with the wealth redistribution policy. For example, both income and assets will have to be surveyed, which will be a gigantic exercise requiring massive resources. The survey to assess income presumably cannot differentiate between tax-paying and non-tax-paying citizens like rich farmers. Doing so would defeat the purpose. You can't just exempt rich farmers. All assets classes, land, gold, cash, property, will have to be assessed to determine wealth. Determining their existence and their value will be an almost impossible logistical task. Determining assets of institutions will require covering religious ones too, like temples that hold a large part of the National Land Bank. I've already told you this. Once assessed, the state will have to redistribute this too, which could be a very fraught exercise. Ancestral wealth and assets will also have to be computed. Exercise will be left to surveyors and state reclamation agents, which will increase the potential for graft. People will start bribing them. Since income and wealth levels change, the exercise will have to be carried out periodically for it to remain equitable. Wealth or income redistribution exercises have failed in the past. Apart from stiflingly high tax rates, the Congress brought in the Compulsory Deposit Scheme Act of 1963, as well as 74. You must all remember that, viewers. Let's open this up. Let's ask some fundamental questions tonight. Let me begin with Dr. Anand Ranganathan. Dr. Ranganathan, look, I agree with you. The Prime Minister could have, or agree with the Congress. I never thought I would say that, but why not? Let's be honest. The words the Prime Minister used could have been smoothened out a little bit. The rough edges didn't have to be so politically incorrect, so to speak. But at the heart of it, do you think he's making some sense? or is he just spreading communal poison?
Good evening, Rahul, and good evening to my fellow panelists. First of all, let me congratulate you for that wonderful primer, so informative. There are three issues that emerge when we deconstruct or analyze the speech of PM Modi. Let me elaborate on each of them very briefly. Number one, did Prime Minister Manmohan Singh actually say what Modi claimed he said? That Muslims have the first right to resources. Manmohan Singh said in his speech in 2006, quote, "We will have to devise innovative plans to ensure that minorities, particularly the Muslim minority, are empowered to share equitably in the fruits of development. They must have the first claim on resources," unquote. Now, 3 points on this. A, they could be interpreted as meaning all minorities, or because Muslims were mentioned specifically, only Muslims. In any case, grammatically, it is ambiguous. B, why should minorities, including Muslims, have the first right to resources? It should be the poor, whether be from minority or majority. And C, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh remained the Prime Minister 8 years after he made this contentious speech. Is there, I ask you, any video clip of his refuting the claim that he said Muslims must have the first right to resources? Any video from hundreds of press conferences he gave from 2006 to 2014? No. Number two, the most pertinent issue that Modi has brought up through his speech is that of the draconian, and I'm sorry, there's no other word to describe it, diabolical Congress promise of wealth redistribution, straight out of the pocket diaries of Mao and Pol Pot. Common sense tells you that beyond the wealth that is anyway redistributed through the income and corporate taxes, any further redistribution amounts to the Marxist idea of looting those who generate wealth, or as Marx famously said, from each according to his ability to each according to his need. But who decides what is ability and what is need? Altruism must always be a fraction of truism. Congress raised corporate tax to 45% in 1991. Modi reduced it to 22%. Because common sense tells you that zealous redistribution of wealth actually reduces wealth. And total redistribution of wealth reduces wealth totally. Because it removes the incentive from people who generate wealth to generate wealth. Because it makes a segment of population, the recipients, uncompetitive and unproductive, because it destroys every nation that has ever implemented it. The metaphor of gold and Mangal Sutra being stolen by the Congress to be redistributed was a, I have to say, clever and cunning ploy by PM Modi to criticize wealth redistribution without cushioning its evil nature through merely mentioning redistribution of corporate wealth instead. So it struck a chord. Look, this anti-science communist cult that birthed redistribution of wealth has resulted in the murder of 100 million innocents. It is the antithesis of Darwinism in that it abjures competition and empathy. It attracts hateful, incompetent failures in life. It cushions their guilt of destroying things they are incapable of ever building. One must understand, Rahul, the thin lines that divide communism, anarchy and revolution are there for a purpose. Hopscotch. Rahul and his lapdogs have perfected the art of jumping from one square to another. Communism today, anarchism tomorrow, revolution forever. Finally, just 30 seconds. Of those who say Modi indulged in hate speech. Well, if quoting a former prime minister, mentioning infiltrators and those with more kids without identifying them directly is hate speech, then what is, I ask you, chanting 5 times a day, no one has the right to be worshipped but Allah 4062, polytheists, i.e. Hindus are the worst of creatures 98.6, those who disbelieve in our verses, we will drive them into a fire, do not disbelieve as friends unless they convert and kill them if they refuse. Is that hate speech? Is singling out kafirs and ordering their murder hate speech? Answer if you have the guts.
Well, I never thought that Dr. Ranganathan would also give full marks to Rahul and the Congress. Marks as in, obviously, viewers, the author of the Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx. Now, Tehseen Poonawalla, can I ask you a simple and straightforward question? Why are we running away from the real issue? That the Congress has borrowed heavily from the Communist Manifesto, from the failed policies of Soviet Union, Mao's China, Venezuela, Zimbabwe, and of course, its own past. Those massive tax rates, almost 95% tax rates. This other horrible scheme that was introduced, which you backpedaled and quickly shoved under the mattress, which I've already referred to, as you know, the Compulsory Deposit Scheme Act of 1963, several other schemes. I mean, we are even burdened with the legacy of taxpayers like me giving subsidies after subsidies to rich farmers who are 10 times richer than all of us put together here. Let me tell you, on this panel, and there are some hefty people with big wallets on this panel, not me, of course.
Not me.
Well, you're just waiting for the next patent. And once you get that patent, you're done. But look, let me ask you, Tehseen, you know what I mean. Would you like to see your hard-earned money that you get from your businesses, etc., taken away, assessed, just because you're thought to be a criminal?
Thank you, Rahul. When you described the last line, it almost felt like Enforcement Directorate, that you will get assessed just because you're thought to be a criminal. That's in the ED which Mr. Modi passed his government one by one, because I cannot talk only on certain points and not bring in the context. So what Anand quoted about Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, he refuses to quote the full paragraph. So please do not interrupt me. Let your viewers hear the full paragraph. I believe our collective priorities are clear: agriculture, irrigation and water resources, health, education, critical investment in rural infrastructure, and the essential public investment needs of the general infrastructure, along with programs for the upliftment of SC, STs, other backward castes, minorities, women and children. The component plans for the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes will need to be revitalized, and we will have to devise innovative plans to ensure the minorities, particularly the Muslim minorities, are empowered to share equitability in the future of development. They must have the first claim on resources. Now, Anand and Rahul, the word used is claim, not rights. Anand deliberately quoted rights. Very different. Number two, he talks about SC, ST, women, OBC, everybody. But you just pick up Muslims. Please, now, Anand, I cannot debate this way. It doesn't behove you to keep interrupting.
Okay,
kindly allow me to finish.
I'll get you in.
You had your say, nobody interrupted.
Let him finish.
So please allow me my say. Let's be courteous to each other. Please, thank you. Now, Anand then comes and says, oh, there's no video of Dr. Manmohan Singh saying no to it, because he gave a press note. He gave a press note on 10th December saying, look, this full speech has to be written in context, and it is about OBC, Dalit, SC, ST, everybody. But no, you'll say there is no video. Why should he speak on a video when there is a press note, a written note from the Prime Minister's office on what he meant? But you will choose not to take it. Now let's come to the Congress's past. This is the political party that brought in liberalization. Guess who opposed it? The Bharatiya Janata Party. This is the party that wanted to increase FDI. Guess who opposed it? The Bharatiya Janata Party. This is the party that got in a nuclear deal. Guess who opposed it? The Bharatiya Janata Party. This is the party that got in FDI and retail. Guess who opposed it? The Bharatiya Janata Party. Which is the party that took us on the path of liberalization? The Congress. Guess who opposed it? The BJP. They opposed every single progressive decision. So now let's come to the last part, the redistribution of wealth. Not only what the Prime Minister said was a dog whistle against Muslims, bordering on hate speech, which is in my case, the Supreme Court has ruled out, by wrong quoting, because the total fertility rate of Muslims is 2.3 and Hindus is 2.1. Not only did it border on it, and you've alluded to that, Rahul, what the Prime Minister actually done is not quoted factually from the Congress manifesto. Yes, you take some part of redistribution of wealth. The Congress manifesto talks about growing industry, right to apprenticeship, how people will get jobs, how an entire roadmap will be built to create more jobs. But none of that is taken, but said, okay, a fear mongering that if Rahul has 2 houses or Anand has 4 houses, their houses will be surveyed, their houses will be taken and distributed to the Muslims. Now, this is a dog whistle that the Prime Minister is doing. It is written nowhere in that manifesto. And what I find extremely objectionable is for the Prime Minister, who is a very senior leader, to say, wo aake aapka Mangal Sutra leke baat denge. It does not behove our Prime Minister. It simply does not behove him and his stature.
No, but Tehseen Poonawalla, on just the last point, and yes, Dr. Ranganathan, you can come in right after that. Just on the last point, on the Mangal Sutra point, tell me something, are you going to assess income and wealth tax? If it is about wealth, a large number of Hindus, they park their wealth, their hard-earned money, in tangible assets. Some of them also are Mangal Sutras. Now, what will happen? I want to ask you, Tehseen Poonawalla, these enumerators will go out, because that's what Rahul Gandhi has said, financial and institutional surveys, to find out who holds the country's wealth, what section holds it, what section, that individuals hold it, middle class holds it, upper middle class holds it. This is an obvious. Then I will ask.
Ask?
Yes. So then, what is wrong if the Prime Minister says your Mangal Sutra will be
That's
taken?
fair.
Yes.
I'll answer that.
You could
answer
quibble
that.
with the fact that
Because
it might
the
go
Congress-
to the Muslim first, or to the Sikh first, or to the
I will
Hindu first, or
give
what
the
have you.
facts.
Yeah.
Now, Tehseen, I didn't interrupt
Yeah.
you.
And
Please allow.
Why did
one second.
the
One
Prime
second.
Minister?
One second. Is there a quibble? Just Tehseen
Do I answer or does
Poonawalla,
Anand
is it a quibble that the Prime Minister talked about a Mangal Sutra, which is an asset for many Hindus?
No.
No. Then that's it.
No, no.
Now
It's
let's
a hate
stop there.
speech.
No,
It's a
that is
hate-
immaterial.
it's a hate-
That
can I please make
that
a
is
point?
for the
It's a
courts
hate-
to
No,
decide.
it's not.
I have
It
said
is-
it's
it is-
indelicate.
It is not immaterial.
I said it's
Somebody
an
should
indelicate.
not be
No,
making
no,
a
excuse
hate
me,
speech,
excuse
but
me.
let me make a larger point.
No, no, one second. No, no, you made your
Let
point.
your viewers understand what the redistribution
No, no, one
is. You've asked the
second. No, no,
question.
no. I've gone into it. You've explained it. You, in fact, denied
There
it.
is no
You said there is no
redistribution of
redistribution. Okay. Then what are these words by Rahul Gandhi?
Absolutely.
Financial and institutional survey
I
to
will
find
explain it
out
if you do allow
who
me.
holds the country's wealth.
Yes.
Viewers, it's implicit. Let's not go around now
Correct.
trying to justify all of this. Let Rahul
Let
Gandhi
me
come out
answer
and say
that.
that he hasn't said any
Can
of
I
this.
please
No,
answer
one
that?
second. No, no. This is not for you to answer.
Of
This is
course
for
he
Rahul
said it.
Gandhi
Can I
to
please
answer
answer
since
it?
he's
I will-
mentioned it
I'm
in
on your
public.
show to answer it.
One second. Let me bring in Dr. Ranganathan. Yes, quickly make your point. I want to bring in Tuhin Sinha.
It's not for me to continuously point out the inaccuracies of my brother Tehseen's point of view, because we don't have the time, to be honest. But I'll just point out two. I used the word claim because I quoted Dr. ex-Prime Minister Manmohan Singh verbatim. And Rahul, you can please play
Yeah,
that
I know. You
back.
said that. I was following it because I have put the entire quote that Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla has read. It's on air. It's running.
Yes.
I read it from
No.
top to bottom. Yes.
Yes,
Claim,
no way have I
not
taken it
rights.
out.
Yes,
said
yes.
claim.
Don't quibble over something that you've misheard. Tehseen
Yes.
Poonawalla, you can rewind
No,
it. It's
there's
been
a
already
difference between
uploaded.
claim and rights.
It's already been uploaded as
Thank you, Rahul.
claim. Please. Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate
Next
it.
point. Yeah.
And I used claim, number one. Number two, I did not misquote Manmohan Singh. I quoted him correctly and verbatim. Number two, the TFR of Hindus is not 2.1 as Tehseen has claims, is 1.9. The latest NHF survey says that. Of Muslims is 2.4. Number three, the most important thing is, Rahul, I ask you a very simple question. In America, when a presidential candidate is preparing to fight for elections, he declares his income tax, does he not? Because he knows if he's accusing the other of not declaring, the first thing he has to do is to declare it himself. And the Indian-born candidate did so as well. So I want to ask a very simple question of Rahul Gandhi and his cohort. Robert Vadra is a businessman. Why hasn't Rahul Gandhi declared or done a survey of the business interests of every member of the Rahul Gandhi Vadra family and put it out in the open? Say it. Practice what you preach, yeah.
May I please answer that?
No, no,
It's
you don't
personal.
have to answer. It's a rhetorical question.
please
Let
answer
me
that?
just
It's
bring in
personal.
Tuhin Sinha
No, I
as
will.
well as
It's
Mr.
personal.
Madan.
You can't make a personal comment and get away.
No, he's not here to answer it.
Rahul, it
It is
can't
personal.
go on as a...
It wasn't
I will
on you.
answer it.
I know how much you are worth.
No,
I
that's
was asking
okay.
about
It's
how
on
much
Robert.
Robert
I'll
was
answer
worth.
it.
I don't know. Why do you need to clarify ability on yourself?
I will.
No, one minute.
No,
just
no,
relax,
there-
calm down.
first
Let me
of all,
bring
there
in
is no liability
one
for
second,
me.
one
Let me
second.
clarify.
Mr. Madan and one second. Mr. Madan and Tuhin Sinha. Let me just ask you, Mr. Tuhin Sinha. Look, I'm at 24. I have been asked to take a break in 2 minutes. I don't even know how I'm going to get the next two panelists in. But Tuhin Sinha,
Rahul, I think you also need to
Dog whistle,
redistribute your
hate
time
speech.
the way, we're talking, the
That's
Congress
true.
is talking about
You're
wealth
right.
distribution. We also need to redistribute your time on the show.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Because
Very
I also
nice.
need to make some important points over here.
Yes, please go ahead. Maybe we can defer the
I
break
also need
a
to
little
make some
later.
important
Okay,
points with
okay.
you.
Make your point. Make your point. We'll push the break back. I'll beg the director to do so.
Rahul, why
Yes.
are we so surprised? Why are we so surprised about Congress's redistribution plans? What Dr. Manmohan Singh had said in a very layered and a sophisticated manner in 2006 was emphasized very, in a very upfront manner by Sida Ramaiah, the Karnataka CM of some 4 months ago, when he very emphatically said that I am going to redistribute the country's properties among the Muslims. Now, the fact is, whenever the Congress utters the word redistribution, the country needs to be extremely skeptical because they have a history of redistribution. Redistribution of the land of Akhand Bharat, with a very hasty partition in 1947. The places of worship bill, redistribution of temples in 1991. The redistribution of land any which way through the Waqf Act of 1995, which was made only more draconian with amendments in 2012, 6 years after Dr. Manmohan Singh's statement. the redistribution of reservations by including Muslims among the OBCs, and finally, this is the fifth redistribution which Rahul Gandhi says is going to be the most revolutionary. So I think we need to rightly be alarmed. Now, if you look at the Congress manifesto, point 1 in the equity section, which talks about caste census and socio-economic census, if you take it with point 5 and point 6, which emphasizes the empowerment of minorities, I think you just need to put 2 and 2 together. And like you yourself mentioned, the compulsory deposit scheme of 1963 and the compulsory deposit scheme of 1974. And by the way, Dr. Manmohan Singh was the chief economic advisor of the country in 1974 when the compulsory deposit scheme of 1974 was brought in. So I think, we need to be rightly be alarmed, we need to be rightly be worried, and it is the onus is upon Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party to explain what exactly it meant with repeated insidious mention of personal laws, wealth redistribution in its manifesto. So what is wrong with what our Honorable Prime Minister said yesterday?
No, so Mr. Madan, let me ask you a question. Let's just quote so I was about to say Communist Manifesto, the Congress Manifesto. Let me just quote the Congress Manifesto to you. Okay, Mr. Madan, and you explain these terms to me. How will this be done? It says Congress will conduct a nationwide socio-economic, right?
Yeah.
Census to enumerate the caste, subcaste and their socio-economic conditions. Now, how do you find out the economic condition of caste and subcaste? Can you explain this to me, sir? How do I know how much a caste is earning or a subcaste is earning?
So Rahul, exactly, allow me to make my statement, and I would expect...
No, I'm asking you to answer the question.
Yes, so I'm answering you. I'll answer in my own way. I cannot give you an answer that you like. I will, answer, how I understand and how I look at this entire debate. Now, it is notoriously vain and insecure to construe that social economic survey would mean that, someone will come to your house and will take away your personal wealth, your Mangalsutra, etc. I don't want to repeat what Tehseen has said, but I will just elaborate on, how, the scheme, etc. works. Now, it is the same government who has opposed the Food Security Act, under which the present government says that they are giving free ration to 80 crore individuals. So I'll ask one question to yourself. How do they come to this figure that it is 80 crores Indians who needs free ration? That must be on the basis of some report. I ask you and I ask Tuheen, what is the basis through which they calculate this number to be 80 crores? How would you ensure that this number is not actually 80 crores? The number should be more than 80 crores. Now, it is the same government. It is the same government that, again, I will not repeat what Tehseen has said in the interest of time, who has opposed all kind of reformative measures, including the Food Security Act, on which they bank very loudly. And I think to construe and say a social economic censored, would mean someone knocking at your door, asking about your
Can I ask you this question?
And then,
how do you undertake this census? Can you explain? If a government wanted to find out, excuse me, 1 second, so just listen to my question, because the question is important and I just want to ask you. Okay, Congress will conduct a nationwide, let's just look at one half of it, caste census. They would
how does the census happen?
So how does it happen? Someone comes to your house, right? And they ask you, Bhai, what is your caste? Right?
No. So
Rahul, they imagine your caste.
I am sorry, Rahul. I think this imaginary work is being done by
I'm
the
asking you,
government.
how do you undertake a survey?
So it has to be done by the policymaker. I am a lawyer. I am not supposed to answer how a policy will be formed and how the policy will be effectuated.
Can I ask you a question? If a census has to be undertaken as to how many people do have a MBBS, an LLB degree on the bar, how do you think it will be done? कुछ कागज तो दिखाना पड़ेगा ना.
Yes,
you will check the records.
Check the record of the bar. So tell me something.
Right. So one second. Very important. Very important. Now he's hit the nail on the head. Now viewers, what are the records that exist? They exist of income. All of us file an income tax at the end of the year. We don't right now file what is known as a massive one-page document declaring all our assets, do we, viewers? We talk about the income and how those incomes are being generated. That doesn't mean that I bring out my great-great-grandmother's shawls and say, bhaiya, ye bhi aap zara dekh lo.
No.
Acha, Mangal Sutra jo...
Let me tell you.
Kapil Madan, please, let me just finish. I'm not arguing with you, sir. I'm just making a point. The fact is, viewers, if a wealth redistribution has to take place, you have to calculate assets and income. That makes wealth. Now, an ancestral home is not being declared.
I want to make.
Sir, let me just
I want to
finish.
make a very important point.
Sir,
I want to make a very important point, Rahul. It's an important.
I'm a guest on your show, sir.
So government.
I'm a guest on your show. Are you allowing the Atithi Devo Bhava? Please, sir.
Please go on.
A couple 10 seconds. I just wanted to say this, that Rahul, you have hit the nail on the head. What Rahul Gandhi wants is what the 540 odd MPs have put in their affidavit. That is exactly what he wants 1.4 billion Indians to do.
You know, first you should try and ask the Supreme Court.
So Anand, how does the Prime Minister calculate?
Can you show us all your
the
assets, etc.? I'm going to ask you, viewers,
no.
will this apply to lawyers? Will this apply to doctors?
Anand,
will this apply to... No, obviously it will. Because what does Rahul Gandhi say?
Bharat, what is the criteria to get yourself registered under the Ayushman Bharat?
Get yourself registered. Viewers, get yourself registered. That's the point. Get yourself... Yes, because you... Yes, you declare... Madan Sahab, you declare. Someone else doesn't come and say you have
policy. So are you trying to say
let me bring in
this government does not have any data?
Why don't you respond to Mr. Madan? Why don't you respond to Mr. Madan?
Mr. Madan is as vague as, sometimes Rahul Gandhi tends to be. But when Congress party is talking about redistribution of wealth, ideally, they should begin with how, redistribution of wealth of people like Dheeraj Sahu is going to take place. People in the Congress era used to amass crores and crores of rupees in cash. So ideally, unless you start the redistribution of that wealth, you have no right to talk about any other redistribution. I will, just to explain things to Mr. Madan even better, I will just repeat what the equity in the equity section, the Congress party manifesto mentions.
We know what it
right
says.
After affirmation.
Okay.
It just needs to be seen together. They probably, felt they were too clever by half, and they felt that people would not see that.
Actually,
but the two things are linked: the minority empowerment with the affirmative action.
Your basic thesis is best elaborated, and I want to bring in Tehseen on this point, by what Rahul Gandhi says. You take what is in the manifesto, and then he says financial and institutional survey to find out who holds the country's wealth. Now, I want to ask you, Tehseen, institutions also mean religious institutions like Hindu temples and Waqf boards. So, how will we undertake this survey? You will obviously ask them to declare what they have. And then he says what holds it, what section holds it. Then we will undertake revolutionary work. Whatever you write, we will work on giving you the same. So what is he saying here?
Pol Pot ke chacha aa gaye.
Exactly what you said, and I think that is not taking wealth from Tom and giving it to Peter. What he's asking is, he's saying that we will look into who holds what assets in terms of illegal assets, just as the ED gets.
He never said illegal.
What does ED do with the illegal assets?
No, he's not. No. That is for the income tax department to do, but, sir. Not Rahul Gandhi's government.
You have to. That's true. One second, please, sure. Rahul, please. I understand it's the income tax department. I too understand it. And the income tax department reports to whom? The government. So the government will ask the income tax to look at where is illegal wealth, which has to be redistributed. And that redistribution will help the poor of the country come up. Today, if 1% of the country control 40% of the wealth, isn't it time that we look at that model, which is not equitable,
will farmers be surveyed?
Correct for our country?
Will farmers be surveyed? Will farmers be surveyed, sir? Rich farmers? Because they are exempt from income tax.
About assets. What assets do farmers have?
Land.
We are talking about illegal assets. Do you say farmers have illegal
assets?
Where is
illegal?
Where is the illegal asset? Illegal land, you can't be a farmer because you own the government.
Where is the illegality here?
Now let me explain to you.
Financial and institutional survey to find out who holds the country's
wealth. If you're a farmer, Rahul, I understood your question. You have to allow me to answer. The viewer can't think I don't know the answer, so allow me to answer. If you're a farmer with an illegal land, farming on it, rich farmer, it's not illegal land. We are talking about
Who
illegal
determines
assets
whether it
that
is
are being
legal or
collected,
illegal?
confiscated, identified to be redistributed.
Who determines
The
whether
survey,
it's legal? A
like
survey.
income tax, like
Now,
ED.
viewers, here's the
Jairam
question. Here's the question. A corrupt surveyor shows up at your residence and he catches hold of the Mangal Sutra on your wife's neck.
He doesn't come to the
and he
residence,
says,
my friend.
No, he comes. The survey happens how? You elect to do the survey on your own. You sit in the home and say, "Nahi, mere paas 2 biga zameen hai, 4 biga." Come on, Tehseen, you're sounding a little today. Sorry, a little off kilter. There are some things that can be defended, and there are certain things that can't be defended. So please, Rahul Gandhi needs to come out
Well,
and
I can
answer
if you allow me
India
to speak.
certain
If you
questions.
want to
These
put your
questions
words out,
have
you
been
can.
asked of him by the Prime
Rahul
Minister.
Gandhi-
If he believes in, no, 1 second, if he believes in complete transparency, Rahul Gandhi should tomorrow hold a press conference and tell us why he believes the Prime Minister is wrong. And say that I'm only talking about illegal assets and so forth and this and that Tehseen is saying. Why isn't Rahul Gandhi coming out, viewers? Because that is exactly what Rahul Gandhi has not said. He has said financial and institutional survey to find out who holds the country's wealth. He's not said income. He's not said assets.
He's not said legal or illegal.
He's not said legal or illegal. He's called
In
it
fact,
wealth. Wealth is
Rahul,
a
he
factor of
consciously-
income and assets.
It was very easy for him
Well,
to call it illegal property or
I will-
benami property.
I will move on
I think
now.
he very carefully.
We will move on
He very
because we will
carefully
go to
avoided
the
the
next
mention of the
debate, which
word
is an
illegal.
important one, viewers, because there is a massive new row that is erupting. And it is erupting precisely 5 days ahead of the second phase of elections. In 2 days, campaigning is going to end. And in Kerala, in Wayanad, the Congress party, lead scion Rahul Gandhi is contesting. It is deemed a safe seat. The Prime Minister has come out and said that it is no longer a safe seat because Rahul Gandhi hasn't performed. His own ally, Rahul Gandhi's own ally, the CPI, its candidate, Annie Raja, has come out and said, in clear terms, Rahul has done a bad job of representing Wayanad in Parliament. She said it to me 2 days ago. We played out the interview. Now, viewers, the Congress says all these people are lying. Rahul Gandhi has done a stellar job. His commitment cannot be questioned to Wayanad. So here is a quick analysis of Rahul's commitment, and then we'll ask viewers, is Rahul Gandhi, has he taken Wayanad for granted on the back of the information that I'm going to put out on your screens? Let's first look at attendance in the Lok Sabha between 2019 and 2024. This data is available, viewers, in the public domain. It is put out by a very responsible organization. Statistics. Rahul Gandhi says, Rahul Gandhi has attended Parliament 51% of the times. National average is 79%. State average is 83%. That is, Rahul Gandhi's own colleagues from the state of Kerala have attended the Parliament at least 83% of the time of its full working. So Rahul's attendance is much below even the average attendance of his fellow MPs from Kerala, fellow Congress MPs, IUML MPs. Debates. Rahul Gandhi has participated in 8 debates. The national average is 46.7% of the debates, viewers, and the state average is 78.5 debates. Even Kerala MPs on an average outscore Rahul 9 times on this count. Then have a look at starred and unstarred questions. Very important. Rahul Gandhi is asked 99 starred and unstarred questions combined. The national average is 210. State average of all the fellow MPs, each one of them asks almost thrice the number of questions, starred and unstarred questions than Rahul Gandhi has done, 275. A third of Rahul Gandhi's questions are only on Kerala and Wayanad, so about 33 to 34. The rest are all on other issues. Where he's done well is on the allocation of MP LA funds, which is what you get as an MP to contribute towards the development of your constituency. Here, the allocation is 9.8 and his expenditure is 9.79 crore. He leads in the group of MPs that have actually ploughed back MP LA funds to ensure some development. Now let's open this up, viewers. Let's ask, has Rahul Gandhi underrepresented Wayanad? Very quickly, sir. CPI leader with us, D. Varshane. Go ahead, Mr. Varshane. Has he underrepresented Wayanad, or is the CPI leader lying through her teeth?
You have stated the attendance of Rahul Gandhi. That itself shows.
No, I have not taken the attendance. It has been
position of Rahul Gandhi representing the Wayanad.
Yes, sir. No, I have not taken the attendance. I am just quoting figures. Yes, sir. Please.
So you have already quoted the figure, which itself says what is the percentage of Rahul Gandhi in attending the parliament and representing the Wayanad. At the same time, you should not speak and give your commentary in a BJP manner. You should have also quoted how much parliament has been attended by Modi ji. Why have you not given that data? That data is also there in public domain.
No, it actually is not.
Okay.
Because I don't think you know parliamentary process. Ministers, their attendance is not recorded. The number of questions they ask, they are not meant to ask questions because they represent the government. They can't be asking themselves the questions. So this is certain logic that CPI, you very respectable leader from the CPI have actually consigned to the waste bin of history. This is logic. Now, these are the rules.
All
now,
right.
Unless you want to change the rules. No, you can change the rules, sir. Tell the CPI to move a bill tomorrow, private member's bill. You move it, whoever, you ask somebody to move it on your behalf. And you can have the rules changed. मैं तो आपको rules बता रहा हूँ, sir. Ministers are not supposed to sign their attendance. Prime Minister is the minister in his cabinet. He is not supposed to put down his attendance. Now, why he doesn't have to do it and all that is an existential question, sir. The CPI is very good at asking these existential questions. You please ruminate on them. My point is, Annie Raja says that Rahul Gandhi underrepresents his constituency. Is she right or is she wrong? Simple question to you, sir. You are from her party.
No, if Annie Raja has said that thing, if she is right,
okay.
she is
Tehseen
right.
Poonawala, she is
but
right.
I'm asking you,
her
as
ally,
Prime Minister
Rahul
Modi
Gandhi
has represented the country properly in Parliament, will you please answer that question? Or will you ever conduct this speech on that? Whether Prime Minister Modi has honestly represented the people of India in Parliament? He has not. He has not been on many of the debates to the Parliament.
Okay, but we are
people
not
have
asking
to walk
about
out to call him to the Parliament.
The debate,
opposition has been suspended when we demanded to bring him to the Parliament.
Okay, okay.
And now you are laughing.
So both Gandhi should lose, right? I'm okay with that comment. I'm okay with that comment. Let me bring in Tuhin Sinha. Tuhin Sinha, both Rahul Gandhi, by the left spokesperson, left leaders' assessment, both Rahul Gandhi and Modi have done a terrible job in Parliament. By that assessment, Tehseen Poonawala, let me also bring you on this, both should not return to Parliament. Are you okay with this? Tehseen Poonawala, that Rahul Gandhi and Modi should not return. They are both cheating their constituents. Mr. Tehseen Poonawala. The left is saying it, I am not saying it.
I have never used the word cheating.
Democracy, everyone can have.
I have never used the word cheating. You don't put your words into the mouth of
Underrepresenting, sir. Chalo, ek hi baat hai. Chali. Underrepresenting. Chali. Let's.
No, there is a lot of difference between underrepresenting and cheating. Cheating
okay, what is the difference?
Term.
What is the difference?
Underrepresentative is a positive word. Please. Cheating is a very bad word.
Your interests are a
I know English very better, much better than you. I am a professor. I know English much better. Grammatically and otherwise also.
Okay, viewers.
Don't put your words in others' mouth.
Let me tell you, viewers, that we elect.
No, don't laugh.
We elect MPs.
You should be a serious
We elect
thinker.
MPs.
You should know how to be a serious
Mr.
thinker.
Varshane, stop shouting. Relax. I just want to say something very fundamental here, viewers. You elect a parliamentarian to represent your interests in Parliament. If he's underrepresenting them, he's obviously not doing a good job. It's not a positive thing, it's actually a negative thing.
That applies
think
to the
about
Prime
it.
Minister of India also. That applies to the Ministers of India also.
Yeah, so sack them. Who's asking?
Ruling party MPs
I'm not
also.
defending anybody.
Have you asked the same question to Hema Malini? Have you asked the same question to Hema Malini?
Well, Rahul.
Yeah, Tuhin Sinha. Yes, go ahead. Respond.
Well, Rahul, as you have rightly explained in your primer, that the attendance of Rahul Gandhi cannot be compared with that of ministers, but I think the issue extends beyond his his attendance over here. Rahul Gandhi has largely always been an absentee parliamentarian and an absentee leader. But as a responsible member of parliament from Kerala, I would expect him to speak on love jihad. I would expect him to speak on the growing radicalization in the areas that he represents. Has he done that? If he has not done that, he has done a big disservice to national security.
2 days ago that he hasn't raised very important issues that are central to Wayanad, and she listed them. Your response, has he taken them? Has he taken his own constituents for a ride? Very quickly, sir. Very quickly.
So, the answer to that is under the present union government, under Niti Aayog, 2 years running continuously, Wayanad has won best upcoming district award. 2 years, the best small district award. Wayanad's won it. That's under Rahul Gandhi. They've got a cash prize of 3 crore rupees last year. They won it year before last. They're the best town that's coming up, and on all parameters they've increased. That's the Niti Aayog under the
Dr.
government of
Ranganathan,
India,
very quickly, last minute on the
Wayanad,
show.
number one.
On the show. Yes.
No, I have to say that this report card of Rahul is still better than his college report card, having gone to the same college. No, but 2 points here. Number one, I stand with Mr. Varshney, the communist comrade there, because Narendra Modi should have attended that stirring debate that Mr. Karat held on the floor of the parliament, where he castigated China for interning 1.5 million Muslims in concentration camps and feeding them pork. It was the CPIM that brought this out, that look what the Chinese are doing. They have interned 1.5 million Muslims in concentration camps, and Prime Minister Modi just wasn't there. So, while communists are there standing up for the rights of Muslims around the world, what is the Prime Minister Modi doing? So I stand with Mr. Varshney. Long live the revolution.
I leave it at this, viewers. I leave it at this. It's over to the voters, of course. Not going to influence anyone. Just bringing out the facts for you to see.
The Lok Sabha election campaign got heated on Sunday as Prime Minister Narendra Modi chose to take on Rahul Gandhi's April 6 statement in Hyderabad, which had promised a financial and an institutional survey for the redistribution of the country's wealth and jobs. Now, top BJP sources say on the Prime Minister's statement that the Prime Minister messages around 3 statements from the Congress camp which are very much on record. Number 1, Rahul Gandhi's statement on April 6 about the wealth redistribution promise, Manmohan Singh's statement in 2006 about the first right of minorities, and the Congress manifesto that speaks about minorities getting their fair share. The BJP is saying that the Congress needs to explain what its intentions are through such statements and promises. Rahul Gandhi had mentioned the redistribution as a sequel to the already promised caste census. To quote Mr. Rahul Gandhi from his April 6th rally in Hyderabad, "We will do a caste census so that the backwards, SCs, STs, poor of the general caste and minorities get to know how much they account for in the country. After that," Mr. Rahul Gandhi said, "we will do a financial and an institutional survey to find who holds the country's wealth, what section holds it, and then we will undertake the revolutionary work that whatever is your right, we will work on giving you the same." Mr. Gandhi said, be it the media, the bureaucracy, or all institutions, Congress will create the space for you there and give you the right. This speech of Rahul Gandhi was uploaded by the Congress party even on its official website. Now, Mr. Modi is linking this to then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's 2016.
An unprecedented and historic election. A vote that decides Bharat's quest for greatness.
A mandate that paves the way for 1 billion aspirations.
A verdict the world is watching closely.
A battle for a rising Bharat's glorious future. Battle for Bharat. Elections equals CNN News 18.
Guruji.
The Lok Sabha election campaign got heated on Sunday as Prime Minister Narendra Modi chose to take on Rahul Gandhi's April 6 statement in Hyderabad, which had promised a financial and an institutional survey for the redistribution of the country's wealth and jobs. Now, top BJP sources say on the Prime Minister's statement that the Prime Minister messages around 3 statements from the Congress camp which are very much on record. Number 1, Rahul Gandhi's statement on April 6 about the wealth redistribution promise. Manmohan Singh's statement in 2006 about the first right of minorities, and the Congress manifesto that speaks about minorities getting their fair share. The BJP is saying that the Congress needs to explain. Rahul Gandhi had mentioned the redistribution as a sequel to the already promised caste census. To quote Mr. Rahul Gandhi from his April 6th rally in Hyderabad, "We will do a caste census so that the backwards, SCs, STs, poor of the general caste and minorities get to know how much they account for in the country. After that," Mr. Rahul Gandhi said, "we will do a financial and an institutional survey to find who holds the country's wealth, what section holds it, and then we will undertake the revolutionary work that whatever is your right, we will work on giving you the same." Mr. Gandhi said, be it the media, the bureaucracy, or all institutions, Congress will create the space for you there and give you the right. This speech of Rahul Gandhi was uploaded by the Congress party even on its official website. Now, Mr. Modi is linking this to then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's 2006 statement. The Prime Minister has attacked Manmohan Singh's particular statement to question if the
How will these elections impact Bharat's rise in the world? Join me, Nalin Mehta, for the most dynamic and distinctive coverage, unrivaled political punditry, and the sharpest election analysis. Elections equals CNN News 18.
The Lok Sabha election campaign got heated on Sunday as Prime Minister Narendra Modi chose to take on Rahul Gandhi's April 6 statement in Hyderabad, which had promised a financial and an institutional survey for the redistribution of the country's wealth and jobs. Now, top BJP sources say on the Prime Minister's statement that the Prime Minister messages around 3 statements from the Congress camp which are very much on record. Number 1, Rahul Gandhi's statement on April 6 about the wealth redistribution promise. Manmohan Singh's statement in 2006 about the first right of minorities, and the Congress manifesto that speaks about minorities getting their fair share. The BJP is saying that the Congress needs to explain what its intentions are through such statements and promises. Rahul Gandhi had mentioned the redistribution as a sequel to the already promised caste census. To quote Mr. Rahul Gandhi from his April 6th rally in Hyderabad, "We will do a caste census so that the backwards, SCs, STs, poor of the general caste and minorities get to know how much they account for in the country. After that," Mr. Rahul Gandhi said, "we will do a financial and an institutional survey to find who holds the country's wealth, what section holds it, and then we will undertake the revolutionary work that whatever is your right, we will work on giving you the same." Mr. Gandhi said, be it the media, the bureaucracy, or all institutions, Congress will create the space for you there and give you the right. This
Can the India bloc halt the Modi juggernaut? Join me, Nistula Hebbar, for the most dynamic and distinct coverage, unrivaled political punditry, and the sharpest election analysis. Elections equals CNN News 18.
The Lok Sabha election campaign got heated on Sunday as Prime Minister Narendra Modi chose to take on Rahul Gandhi's April 6 statement in Hyderabad, which had promised a financial and an institutional survey for the redistribution of the country's wealth and jobs. Now, top BJP sources say on the Prime Minister's statement that the Prime Minister messages around 3 statements from the Congress camp which are very much on record. Number 1, Rahul Gandhi's statement on April 6 about the wealth redistribution promise. Manmohan Singh's statement in 2006 about the first right of minorities, and the Congress manifesto that speaks about minorities getting their fair share. The BJP is saying that the Congress needs to explain what its intentions are through such statements and promises. Rahul Gandhi had mentioned the redistribution as a sequel to the already promised caste census. To quote Mr. Rahul Gandhi from his April 6th rally in Hyderabad, we will do a caste census so that the backwards, SCs, STs, poor of the general caste and minorities get to know how much they account for in the country. After that, Mr. Rahul Gandhi said, we will do a financial and an institutional survey to find who holds the country's wealth, what section holds it, and then we will undertake the revolutionary work that whatever is your right, we will work on giving you the same. Mr. Gandhi said, be it the media, the bureaucracy or all institutions, Congress will create the space for you there and give you the right. This speech of Rahul Gandhi was uploaded by the Congress party even on its official website. Now Mr. Modi is linking this to then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh's 2006 statement. The Prime Minister has attacked Manmohan Singh's particular statement to question if the Congress would redistribute wealth amongst the Muslim community, linking it to the statement of the Prime Minister.
Namaste, Jai Hind and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. I am Anand Narasimhan. Bharat's 17-year-old Grandmaster Gukesh D scripts history by winning the candidates chess tournament and becomes the youngest ever at just 17 to become the challenger to the world title. He's only the second Indian after Vishwanathan Anand to win the candidates. Gukesh D broke Garry Kasparov's record of winning the event at the age of 22 that stood for at least 40 years. And Gukesh D now will challenge the reigning world chess champion Tang Liren. Meanwhile, the IMF has praised Bharat for maintaining fiscal discipline in the election year, affirming robust economic performance and status as a global economic bright spot. The IMF has said that Bharat's economy is thriving with a growth rate of 6.8% and a downward inflation trend reflecting sound macro fundamentals. Reports also suggest that Apple is betting big on a rising Bharat. The company is set to employ 5 years by scaling up production in our country. Apple's manufacturing ecosystem has over 1.5 lakh employees in Bharat currently. Usha Uthup, Mithun Chakravarti have been conferred with the Padma Bhushan at the Rashtrapati Bhavan in the field of arts. Former Vice President Venkaiah Naidu received the Padma Vibhushan in the field of public affairs. 132 others were also honoured with Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen, and setting up debate discussion number 1 here on The Right Stand this Monday edition. Are all citizens in this country equal? Or is one section more equal than the others? Do some sections require better representation and a level playing field that was denied to them in the past? Sure, some sections do need a helping hand of society. But that's the basis of also many quotas in our country. The Congress party in its manifesto now wants to ensure this affirmative action if they are voted to power. They have promised to redistribute wealth after a thorough survey, and that's the latest flashpoint between the Congress and the BJP. Addressing a rally in Rajasthan's Baswada on Sunday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hit out at the Congress over its wealth redistribution survey promise. He said that if any party, if voted to power, would distribute the country's wealth to infiltrators and those who have more children. He doubled down on that attack on Monday when he was addressing a public gathering in Aligarh. He made a reference to the Mangal Sutra as a sign of a married Hindu woman. The Prime Minister said that the Congress wanted to sell even that and give it away to people they deemed fit. The Congress party, meanwhile, has taken strong objection to the comments made by the Prime Minister himself, even knocking on the door of the Election Commission to asking them to take cognizance and act. Listen in to the Prime Minister's allegations against the Congress party first up.
आपकी संपत्ति सरकार को हटने का अधिकार है क्या? क्या आपकी संपत्ति को, आपने मेहनत करके कमाई हुई संपत्ति को सरकार को ऐंठने का अधिकार है क्या? और पहले जब उनकी सरकार थी उन्होंने कहा था कि देश की संपत्ति पर पहला अधिकार मुसलमानों का है. इसका मतलब ये संपत्ति इकट्ठी करके किसको बांटेंगे? जिनके ज्यादा बच्चे हैं उनको बांटेंगे, घुसपैठियों को बांटेंगे और उनको बांटेंगे जिनको मनमोहन सिंह जी की सरकार ने कहा था कि संपत्ति पर पहला अधिकार मुसलमानों का है. हमारी माताओं बहनों के पास सोना होता है। ये सोना अवसरों पर सिर्फ शरीर पर पहन करके प्रभाव पैदा करने के लिए नहीं होता है। हमारे देश में माताओं बहनों के पास जो सोना होता है, कितना ही कम क्यों न हो, वो स्त्री धन होता है, पवित्र माना जाता है, कानून भी उसकी रक्षा करता है। अब इनकी नजर कानून बदलकर हमारी माताओं बहनों की संपत्ति छीनने का भी खेल खेला जा रहा है। उनका मंगलसूत्र, उस पर उन लोगों की नजर है।
So that was the Prime Minister's comments, clearly little tempered between Sunday and Monday, but the focus very clear, doubling down on this aspect that the Congress's manifesto aims to snatch your wealth, take it away from you and redistribute to somebody else. Your money, your hard-earned wealth is going to be taken away from you by the government who's getting to get into your homes, understand every single naya paisa of wealth that you have and take it away from you and redistribute it towards those. And he put it out there. But is the Congress and its case strong? Or is the BJP's charge of appeasement valid? Let's try and get you some facts first. Here's why the Congress finds itself in a tricky position. There are at least two instances, one in the speech and one later in the letter, when the grand old party spoke of a survey and redistribution of wealth. The first is in the section of the Congress's manifesto released earlier this month. In the Nyaya Patra, the Congress has promised economic empowerment of minorities. They said they will strengthen the agenda for affirmative action and ensure that minorities get their fair share of opportunities in education, healthcare and employment, among others. Rahul Gandhi's remarks during his rally in Hyderabad gave the BJP further ammunition. He said that if voted to power, Congress will conduct a financial and institutional survey. So, we'll strengthen agenda or for affirmative action, we'll distribute India's wealth to these sections. Kiski kitni sankhya bhari? He pitched that again. We'll ensure minorities receive their fair share, says the Congress's manifesto. Rahul says historic step to ascertain distribution of wealth. Again, wealth will be distributed to various sections based on their numbers. Now, is this a historic step or is it just going to commit harakiri? Taking somebody else's wealth, giving it to somebody else? Can the government do that via affirmative action, and what does affirmative action mean? Listen to what Rahul Gandhi had to say.
मैं आपसे सिर्फ ये कह रहा हूं, आप जग जाओ। आपको लूटा जा रहा है, 24 घंटे आपको लूटा जा रहा है और आप देखते जा रहे हो। मैनिफेस्टो में हमने क्रांतिकारी काम करना है। पहला काम जाति जनगणना, इससे सबकी गिनती हो जाएगी, सबको पता लग जाएगा किसकी कितनी आबादी। उसके बाद इकोनॉमिक सर्वे होगा, फाइनेंशियल सर्वे होगा, हिंदुस्तान की सब संस्थाओं का सर्वे होगा। सबको पता लग जाएगा हिंदुस्तान के धन में किसकी कितनी भागीदारी है।
Tom Vadakan, national spokesperson of the BJP with us. Vivek Srivastava, leader of the CPI with us. Lokesh Jindal, political analyst, leans towards the Congress party with us. And Arun Anand, columnist and author with us. Namaste, Jai Hind. Thank you to everyone for joining us here on this edition of The Right Stand. My first question to Mr. Tom Vadakan of the BJP. Tom Vadakan ji, Prime Minister perhaps a tad too harsh? Is the Congress really going to snatch the wealth of the people?
Well, Anand, we are all in the communication business. When you address a rally, you have to communicate of the ground reality, the complexities of the committees and how it is to be distributed. The new marks on the block, Rahul Gandhi, has got it all mixed up. He talks about affirmative action. Now, let me plead his case. What does he mean by affirmative action? when he categorically says in Hyderabad that very categorically it deals, affirmative action is for everybody who's downtrodden. But this affirmative action is directed towards a minority. Now, that has also been, clarified in the chain of command when Dr. Manmohan Singh said that the Muslims have the first right on the resources. I mean, it is verbatim. It is not Prime Minister saying this. And what he has quoted is Manmohan Singh ji's quote. And he said, look, this distribution involves to people who have so many children. Now, that could be anybody. Now, the point remains, how do you go about this distribution? The litmus test, Ahmed, this is my view, can only be done if charity begins at home. And that is what the Congress party must do. The Congress Working Committee must declare their assets, their wealth, to a judicial committee that oversees the entire exercise with investigative power to begin with, and declare their wealth nationally, internationally, all kinds of wealth that they have accumulated over 70, 80 years. If this is put on record and then start the process of redistribution of that wealth, we will be satisfied that this is they are setting an example. So Rahul Gandhi should start from home. I don't think Priyanka Vadra would agree to this. But anyway, the new Marx that is on the block has decided to do that. So let them do the litmus test with themselves first and then experiment with the entire country. Because this exercise which they are talking about, if this is, you can call it Robin Hood kind of a system, but this is pure dacoity. You take wealth of somebody who has made it from sweat and blood. His property or whatever he has made is assessed by a third party and then distributed to whom? To people, like Manmohan Singh says, to a particular community. Now, is that acceptable? Is this part of democratic concept? Is this part of our constitution? I mean, these are the larger questions Rahul Gandhi must answer. Every time election comes, he says something and then he knows because he is not going to come to power. Right. He can get away with it.
Okay. There is a larger, let Lokesh Jindal respond. Lokesh Jindal.
Well, I can understand the compulsion to defend these statements. However, if we consider the ground realities, we see that today 1% of India's richest, they control 40% of total resources of the country. And this is highest since 1961. 1961 it was 22%, and that was highest since 1922. So today, when we consider after 100 years, we see there is more and more income inequality. There is larger concentration of wealth in the hands of few, deprivation of basic amenities to a large section of society, and a gross social and economic justice. Please tell me, sir, where is Rahul Gandhi wrong? If you talk about the Indian Constitution, Article 38 of the Indian Constitution, it calls for social and economic justice. If talking about social and economic justice is wrong, if talking about a fair redistribution of resources in such a manner that there must be fair and equitable accessibility and consumption of wealth, then I mean, there's something wrong with your understanding of our constitution, and there's something that is fundamentally wrong with your understanding of idea of justice. And the remarks that have been made that the party is eyeing at Mangal Sutra and all, that amounted to a severe violation of model code of conduct. And a position who's the Prime Minister of this country, the highest of all positions, stating in such a manner is deplorable, sir. That is something which cannot be justified in any manner. Correct. It amounts to a severe hate speech.
So, those who are saying that what the Prime Minister said amounts to a severe hate speech don't believe in practicing what they preach.
is
No,
occupying
I'm just
the
asking
constitutional.
those who are claiming this, they don't believe in practicing what they preach. So they can go ahead and say whatever they want. They can go ahead and do whatever they want, and they will not apologize, despite being oftentimes even held and sermonized by the courts themselves.
Anand,
And they can go ahead and say whatever they want, but somebody else should toe the line. They can go
Anand,
stand on the
absolutely.
streets and say, call up whoever and say, because your name is this, you are in this place, and whoever is your owner, whatever based on that person's name, go ahead and brand that person whatever, and all of that is par for course.
Anand, we must condemn all such forms
No,
of
I'm
statements.
just asking you. No, I'm just asking you. Is there this whole aspect of let's practice what we preach? If you believe an equitable distribution of wealth, sir, should the party who's espousing it in its manifesto practice what it preaches? Is there an equitable distribution of wealth, and is there democratization of power even within the party itself, sir?
First of all, the equitable distribution of wealth has more trend.
I'm asking if you're trying to democratize the economy and democratize power and democratize control, is it democratized even within the Congress party? Is it even walking and talking its own, practicing what it preaches? Is a question that Mr. Tom Vadakan also asked. Let's just bring in Vivek Srivastava and Arun Anand. Arun Anand, this concept, sir, is neo-economists in the West. About 5 years ago, this was spoken about, where they wanted to democratize economy. What's the neo-left, the neo-liberals' answer to the capitalist form of economics? So after Karl Marx and Keynes, was there a newer thought process? And there is a group of economists who came together and said, let's democratize the economy also. Is this possible? And the way the Congress espouses it?
No, actually it is not possible. You see, you tend to, it often happens, analysts like us tend to be very selective with data. And what we do, we try to basically manipulate data. Like my fellow panelist has quoted this 1% thing, but people often forget that 25 crore people have been brought above poverty line, and this is not the government of India data. This is the World Bank data, and India is absolutely free of acute poverty now. And inflation has largely been kept under control. The average GDP has grown tremendously. India is the third largest economy, and there is no trickle down effect. It's not the trickle down effect. There is a massive effect because the government has plugged in the leakages and the loopholes. So the direct benefit transfer schemes are benefiting the people directly. The problem with Congress party is that it is bereft of any ideology. And right since independence, it has been primarily basically, surviving on Muslim appeasement. So what Prime Minister has done, it is nothing new. If you look at the historic, evolution of things, right since the partition, when Congress surrendered to the radical elements in Muslim League, then you have seen the Shah Bano case, then you have seen in February 2014, just before they're going out of power, they tried to bring an anti-communal violence bill, which would have, wherever riots would have held, Hindus would have been held responsible. So there's nothing new. I think Congress, the problem with Congress is that now it is stretched between two extremes. One is the radical left, and second is the radical, Islamization. So that's the problem which Congress is. And what Prime Minister has done, he has just repeated what Dr. Manmohan Singh has said.
Vivek Srivastava?
Yes.
I'm just going to read this. Just tell me whether you agree with this or not. Yeah. Okay. Once you've bought your yacht and private jet, there isn't more you can spend on. So let's just take that money and give it to somebody who does not have a yacht and a private jet. So today you've got enough to run your monthly households, pay your EMIs, and anything extra beyond that should not be yours. Let me take it from you and give it to somebody who does not have what you have. Are you willing to part with your hard-earned money like that?
I agree with this. Yes,
so you're willing to part with your hard-earned money?
It's not just a question of my willing to part.
So,
I'll tell you.
Like tomorrow the government will come back and say, you're wearing a shirt, already somebody does not even have a shirt. How are you wearing a jacket? Come on, give me your jacket, let me give it to the person who does not have a shirt.
Okay, now this is being very frivolous, Anand. But then it was very childish of Mr. Tom Vadikan to say, "पहले कांग्रेस वाला आकर के खड़ा होकर के अपने wealth को दे." This is not how systems work. He needs to study what communism is all about, what socialism is all about, how the models work, what Nehruvian economics was, and what this country was before 1991. When Dr. Manmohan Singh became the finance minister.
Yeah, unable to pay its bills, had nothing in its coffer, and liberalization was the only option. Otherwise, you would have been bankrupt overnight. That was the situation in 1991.
Let me speak.
So that model, how it worked, we saw.
Agreed. That is a different debate.
That is the debate.
That is the way you think. I may not think that way. I thought. Yeah. See, now the fact is that we are back into the Congress wants Nehruvian economics to be back. That is what we feel, and we welcome the statement of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Okay. And as far as frivolous questions like कांग्रेस वाला अपना घर देगा कि नहीं देगा, विवेक श्रीवास्तव अपना घर देगा कि नहीं देगा, वो automatically होगा when the laws are made and laws are implemented.
You are saying you're all right if the Congress and the left make Bharat a police state. You're all right if the Congress and the left decide what every Bharatiya will do. We will make the way we draft the constitution, the way we make the laws, the way we decide to take everything from it is all perfect, because that's affirmative action in the interest of everybody else. Anybody else thinks of anything else is all Tanashahi, is all fascism and dictatorship.
Sir, please let me speak.
Yeah, please.
There is no concept of police state. It is the question of economic reforms. It is the question of socialism. It is the question of distribution of wealth. For example, I think everybody sitting on the panel knows how many houses can you own in Delhi in the name of one person. Please let me know. Is there a land ceiling act in this country or not? आप कितने खेत खरीद सकते हैं, Tom Vadikan? Please let me know. So it is already many things are in place. The resources are limited and the concentration in only a few hands cannot be allowed. And if that starts happening the way it has happened since 2014 till date, when a few people are running the show, I mean the reverse has to start.
Have more number of people been alleviated out of poverty? Have more number of millionaires been created? Have more people become richer than poorer? Sir, that 80 crore people, the grains which are being stored in the granary have been produced by